The day my husband Jason finished his rural posting and was due to return to the city caused a sensation throughout the whole village. When that Beijing-plated sedan pulled up at our gate, he looked composed, as if he had long expected this day. As he decided whom to take back with him, he lifted our son and looked at me with guilty eyes. Back then Clara saved our son, we owe her a favor. She wants to go to the city, I couldn't refuse. I'll come back for you after a while, okay? After he finished speaking he fell silent, simply watching me, waiting for my reply. If I'm not mistaken, Clara is already in the car by now. In the 10 years I've known Jason, he's often urged me to read more, chiding me that my head is full only of daily trifles. But he never stopped to think, if I didn't take responsibility for the mundane things, where would his otherworldliness come from? Besides, my father once taught me to read. Yun, my wife, was a phrase Jason often had on his lips. I understood what he meant. He had placed Clara in his mind as the ideal wife, so what does that make me, the one who has been legally married to him? So this time, facing the expectant look in his eyes, my heart was as still as water, and I replied coolly, I can't interfere with your decision. There are still people in the village waiting for me to treat them, I'm leaving first. When the news reached the village, Emma, out of breath from delivering it, burst into the house and loudly congratulated me. Lillian, that's wonderful. You finally made it through. I only smiled and nodded at her, saying nothing. It was Jason, who happened to be returning home, who frowned after she left. Stop associating with those country women. You don't want to become so coarse, do you? Before, when I heard words like that, I would only nod carefully. If you don't want me to associate with them, I won't. But now I looked up at him. You have the freedom to bring people back to the city, and I have the freedom to associate with whoever I choose. This was the first time I had ever contradicted him. Jason was taken aback for a moment, then frowned. Are you angry? It's not like I won't take you to the city, are you really going to be this petty? At that, I laughed. Me, petty? Has he forgotten how he first put down roots here? The year he went to the countryside, he was bitten by a venomous snake while cutting grass and collapsed by the roadside. I carried him back, enduring the village gossip, and dragged him back from death's door. Everyone laughed at me. You're a young woman carrying a grown man back home, who will dare to marry you now? You might as well be a twice-married woman. In the village, gossip was enough to kill a woman. I cried countless times at night. Yet I still cared for him without regret. He complained the Kong was cold, so I rose early and worked late every day to climb the mountain and chop firewood. He wanted to practice calligraphy and read books, so I gritted my teeth and spent all my savings to buy them for him. He said he had no appetite. My father went to gather medicinal herbs for him, but he was caught in a landslide and never returned. Later, when his injuries healed, he wanted to find a place to settle here and marry me. I agreed. He swore at my father's tablet. I, Jason, will treat Lillian well from now on. But now. He said I was narrow-minded. I pressed my lips together and didn't argue with him further, hurrying off to the patient's home. Sarah, bedridden for a long time, held my hand with tears in her eyes. Lillian, thank you for taking care of your sister-in-law for so long. I don't know how to repay you. Knowing you're going to the city to live a good life now, I can finally rest easy. For a moment I didn't know how to respond. Everyone in the village believed Jason would take me to the city. They said I was born to enjoy a good life. But only I knew I would never have that kind of luck. In the last life, Jason took our son and Clara away. He never returned for decades after that. So in this life, I decided to let them go and make them happy. When I got home, I saw my son running out of my room clutching several delicate hair ornaments. He presented them to Clara like a treasure. Aunt Clara, take all of these. My mom's skin is so dark, she wouldn't look good wearing these pretty things. Clara smiled and pinched his cheek. You, now, don't be like your mother, getting stuck with your eyes on money and never coming out. My son muttered under his breath. She's not my mother. I've lost count of how many times I've heard words like that. Clara plays the moralizing teacher, my son the attentive pupil. And my husband sits silently to the side, cradling a book, blocking his ears. Those two never looked down on me. No, that's wrong, they never respected me, because they thought I wasn't worthy of them. They, the two of them, felt more like a family of three with Clara. When did Jason start being like this? It must have been the day Clara returned from the provincial girls' school and the village head held a feast for everyone. After Jason returned from the banquet, he seemed to feel he'd met Clara too late in life. He often sighed, I never expected that from such a remote place would come a woman so open-minded and learned. My son would cling to my thigh and laugh. Yeah, Mom. She's like a goddess, if only you were as beautiful as her. From that time on, the two of them drifted away from me. When I walked through the village to treat patients, I often saw them together. Under the willow, the tall, upright young man would generously press into Clara's hand the money I had saved from scrimping and saving. Take it and spend it, if it's not enough, ask me for more. Clara curled her lips. These few coins won't even buy me snow cream. Is Clara short of money? What she lacks is the status of a city woman, that little ambition of hers I saw through long ago. In Jason's eyes, Clara is young and radiant, while I look wan and haggard, my skin like dead bark. But he seems to have forgotten that I, too, was once known in the village as a pretty girl. It was only after giving birth to our son and working myself to the bone for this family that I came to look like this. Jason sighed. Lillian doesn't earn much, don't look down on her. In my previous life, when I heard those words my heart clenched and I rushed forward to argue. Yet Jason's look of disappointment scared me off. Such narrow-mindedness. Could you stop being so petty? Clara saved our son. He was right. That autumn harvest our son came down with pneumonia and nearly didn't make it through the winter. It was Lillian, back from graduation, who brought home imported Western medicine and saved our son's life. Thinking of that, I was at a loss for words. I could only watch them leave in silence. Later on, they went too far. Our son liked to pester her every day, bringing over the steamed white buns and meat that I had made for the two of them. The things I couldn't bear to eat myself were given to another woman. The villagers saw it all. They mocked me, and they mocked Clara. When Clara was dragged by the village head to the ancestral hall to be punished with kneeling, Jason insisted on going in with her. But no one outside the Shao family was allowed into the Shao ancestral hall. After being thrown back out, he came to me and demanded a divorce. He broke the reasoning down for me. To protect Clara's purity, this is the only way. She can't be pointed at and insulted by the villagers for the rest of her life, Lillian. Clara was afraid of being insulted. Was I not afraid too? I did not agree. Jason slammed the door and left. When I saw him again, Clara was holding him, her eyes swollen and red from crying. Then what about me? There was a tenderness in Jason's eyes I had never seen before. I'll divorce her before I return to the city, and then I'll marry you. Yun, my wife. I will make those words come true. I thought leaving at the right time might be good for me. Jason's return to the city didn't affect me. I continued, as always, to go up the mountain to gather herbs. When we got home, Clara was counting their luggage for them. The pills I had prepared for Jason and the boy lay discarded like trash beside them. They didn't know. To their eyes the useless pills were concoctions brewed from a secret recipe their father had left me. They contained all of my care and effort, though they couldn't cure everything, they easily handled many stubborn ailments. Jason looked down at Clara, his face full of tenderness. Nothing else matters, the main thing is to bring the documents. Clara smiled shyly, scolding him playfully. You. I knew what they wanted the documents for. To take wedding photos, to register their marriage. Poor me in my previous life, I only found out about it 5 years later. By then I hadn't been able to reach Jason for a long time. Terrified that something might have happened to him or our son, I went into the city alone. Travel-worn and dusty, bowing and asking directions of countless people, I finally made it there. What I saw was him holding Clara, throwing a lavish birthday party for her. Our son stood beside them, cozily calling her mom. When he saw me, his expression changed as if he'd seen something filthy. Then, without mercy, he drove me out. He pulled out a wad of cash and slammed it at me. "Isn't it just money you want? Here, take it and get out. Don't ruin my parents' 5th wedding anniversary." Hearing that, I felt as if struck by lightning. My son looked at me with disgust. "You two are already divorced, stop clinging foolishly. Do you want to be the other woman?" Hearing my son, who carried my child for 10 months, call me the other woman, I almost couldn't stand. Jason, on learning I had come, had given me some money. "I only ever felt gratitude toward you, my true love is Clara. Leave. I don't want to see you again." Only then did I suddenly realize. It turned out I had been a joke all along. The last time we met, Clara and I were tied up together. The kidnappers grinned ferociously. New lover and old love, there's no way he'd save neither of them. We won't lose out. Jason hurried over with his son. None of them even glanced at me. When the kidnappers pushed me off the cliff, the 3 of them clung together and cried their hearts out. My death was nothing more than a fleeting page to them. I prayed to heaven for one more chance at life. As my thoughts settled, I watched Jason approach. There was no trace of the worshipful love in my eyes anymore. "I'll send you living expenses every month from now on. You don't have to exhaust yourself gathering medicine anymore." I answered Jason with a calm and made no other sign. Seeing I gave nothing more, Jason squeezed my hand. "Where are you going?" "Help me put away the clothes, and our son wants to eat the food you made. He says he won't be able to have it for a long time." His tone was gentle, but his eyes were full of condescending charity. As if they needed me. As if it were the greatest blessing for me to be here. I said lightly, "Weren't you the one who complained that my mended clothes were full of patches? Don't bother tidying them, just throw them out. As for..." I glanced at our son. "There are leftovers at home, if he wants them, he can heat them up himself. I have to go see patients, I'm busy and have no time." Hearing this, both Jason's and our son's faces changed. He grabbed me and whispered, "If you're angry, don't vent in front of Clara, it's embarrassing." He didn't finish. His son suddenly spoke up. "How much money do you make every day treating people? You'd be better off staying home and taking care of us. Do you want to end up like your father, going up the mountain collecting herbs and killing himself?" Hearing that, my whole body went rigid. My father was a well-known kind doctor across 10 villages, I would not allow anyone to slander his name. The next second I raised my hand and slapped my son's face hard. But Clara stepped in to take the blow for him. There was a triumphant smile hiding in her eyes, even as tears ran down her cheeks. "Lillian, no matter what, you can't hit a child." The boy lunged like an enraged little beast and knocked me to the ground. Even Jason shoved me aside and, with concern, reached out to touch Clara's face. I hit the table leg with my lower back, dizzy with pain. My son wasn't wrong either, the mountain is dangerous. Don't follow in your father's footsteps. Hearing that, I gritted my teeth and slapped him across the face. "Jason, are you even human? Everyone can insult my father, but not you, he died collecting herbs for you. There was a time when I went up the mountain to gather mushrooms, medicinal herbs, wild vegetables, and firewood, and those two, father and son, were never satisfied with what I brought back. When I broke my leg and nearly died in the tiger's den, they blamed me for being careless. Now that Clara is being watched over, they've suddenly started pretending to be considerate." At dusk, Jason held me and apologized in a low voice. "I've already taken our son to the Shao family. He's still a child, please don't be angry. Earlier today I spoke without thinking, I'm sorry." He hadn't finished speaking when there was a sudden knock at the door. Uncle Zhang-san arrived, clutching the land deed and accompanied by guarantors. "Lillian, I'm free now. How about we inventory all the mountain goods?" Jason slowly turned his head and looked at me, stunned. Why are you suddenly talking about selling everything? I nodded and said deliberately, didn't you say you'd come take me away after a while? There's no point keeping these things, selling them will bring in some extra money. Jason said nothing. A familiar look of contempt rose in his eyes again. He'd always thought I cared only for groceries and money, that I was too worldly. But the money I'd saved was never spent on myself. I used it all on him and our son. The snow cream he gave Clara, something I never would have allowed myself to buy in my past life, even to the point of death. I have a clear conscience. All the mountain goods were soon counted, completed, and traded. Jason looked at the handwriting I had made while tallying with a little surprise. Your handwriting is actually pretty nice. I laughed at him, a laugh threaded with mockery. Married for 10 years, he had always looked down on me and naturally assumed I could only do rough work. He once said, your hands are too coarse for a pen, go wash clothes and cook instead. He had also told Clara, how can someone with such long, delicate fingers do rough work? I want you to be a young lady who never touches the nasty drudgery, let me handle all the heavy and tiring tasks from now on. But he didn't either. The dirty, exhausting work he had taken on ended up being taken over by me, who felt sorry for him. He took my care and kindness as his due. Yet he looked at me with nothing but contempt. I had just sent Uncle Jean out the door when someone came running from afar. Jason! Jason! Clara is arguing with her father, you better go see. Jason flung the door open. As he had countless times before, he abandoned me and rushed out. I called after Uncle Jean. Uncle Jean, I don't want this house anymore either. Could you please ask around the village to see if anyone wants it? Sell it to whoever pays. Oh. All right. The buyer came the next morning. We settled the price quickly. I looked at the empty house and thought, Jason stayed the night at Clara's, he wouldn't be coming back. Sure enough, Emma came running to call me. Lillian. Brother-in-law wants you to see him off at the village gate. When I hurried over, Clara was dabbing Jason's sweat with a handkerchief, and our son was grinning broadly. Great. From now on my sister will be my mother. We've finally gotten rid of that old woman. Father, don't you agree? Jason smiled helplessly. Yes, but when she comes later, make sure you put on a smile for her. When he finished speaking, he took a stack of red envelopes from his pocket. Dear elders and fellow villagers, thank you all for taking care of me and Clara over the years. These are just a small token, please accept them. All these years. He never gave me anything. Even the jewelry my father bought for me, he had sold off a good part of it. Now he's leaving. He still hasn't left me with anything. Instead, he's generously handing out gifts to many people who don't even know his face, just to save face for Clara. To tell everyone that Clara will be well taken care of. But he never thought about what others would think of me. Facing the mocking stares of the villagers, I stepped forward. Under the pretense of a hug, Clara leaned into my ear and said, you can't marry into the Yangs, they're above you. They don't need a daughter-in-law like you. If you love them, then don't ever show your face again. To them, you're nothing but a burden. I looked up at her. She hadn't cried or thrown a fit. She simply said to them, and to herself, safe travels. The cart kicked up a cloud of dust, blurring my vision. The villagers gradually dispersed and left. I looked at the ox cart I had rented not far away. I finally laughed from the heart for the first time. Wonderful. I'm leaving here too. Lillian, in this life you must live for yourself. The day Jason returned to the city, every bigwig from the compound was there. Minister Yang, head of the health department, beamed so widely his mouth could barely close. Ah, this must be my little grandson, then this must be my daughter-in-law? He looked at Clara with approval. Clara blushed, and Jason said nothing. For some reason, seeing this warm, happy scene made him think of me, alone and lonely at home in that moment. He picked up his son and sat down. The banquet began. All kinds of lavish dishes were brought out. Clara, smiling, kept putting food into his bowl. You eat more. Jason accepted every offering. Yet none of those delicacies interested him. His appetite had been spoiled by me. While he was healing, I had been the one looking after his 3 meals a day. I was the one who prepared his nutritious dishes. He said it had no flavor. So I ground the seasoning herbs into powder and tried again and again. Finally I managed to coax out the taste he liked. My son was the same. At that moment he refused the dish Clara offered him, frowning. This is awful, I won't eat it. Clara, who was always gentle with him, nonetheless made him open his mouth without question. You just got back. Do you want Grandpa and Grandma to dislike you? My son was cowed. He blankly opened his mouth and ate. His stomach churned, it tasted like chewing wax. Then he thought of me, his mother. After the banquet ended, he drank several mouthfuls of water to suppress the urge to vomit, tugging at Jason's sleeve and whining, Dad. I'm not feeling well. I want to eat the food Mom used to make. Jason looked at him and sighed. I want to eat it too, but now that we're back, we have to adapt to this place. Clara hid the jealousy in her eyes very well. She reminded him, Danny, you need to change the way you address us. From now on you can't call him Dad, you must call him Pa, and you can't call her Mama, you must call her Ma, otherwise people will mock you as a country bumpkin. She gave a light laugh. You don't want to be ridiculed like your mother, do you? The son pursed his lips and nodded. I know. I won't be as annoying as that stupid woman. No sooner had he finished speaking than he was taken away by the person Clara had called. He needs to learn some manners. Clara explained this. The son heard Jason say, he's just arrived, let him rest for a couple of days. Then Clara's syrupy voice chimed in, but I want to have some time alone with you. The son who had been dragged away had red rims around his eyes. He suddenly felt that Clara wasn't as nice to him as she used to be. At night, Jason tossed and turned, unable to sleep. He hadn't eaten much during the day, and now his stomach ached badly. Staring at the empty big house, he thought back to the time we huddled together in the little cottage in the village. At that time he couldn't eat, his stomach ached. Every night I would gently rub his stomach. Take some medicine? I brewed it for you, it'll make you feel much better, I would say. I held the bowl to his lips. He frowned at the bitterness. I smiled and said, don't worry, I put brown sugar in it, and I didn't make it bitter to begin with. The medicine really wasn't bitter. When he drank it he looked at my face. Having me as his wife felt like his great fortune across 3 lifetimes. But then what did he do? There were clearly several spots available for returning to the city. He selfishly chose only our son and Clara, and heartlessly left me behind in that village. In the haze of pain, he propped himself up and got out of bed to rummage through the luggage. He remembered there were the pills I had previously forced into it. Sure enough. He found the old porcelain jar beneath the bundle. The powder inside was ground by me. He brewed a cup, tilted his head back and drank it down. The familiar medicinal taste, laced with the sweetness of brown sugar, eased his stomachache. Suddenly he missed me a little. Dad, no, Dad. The son stood outside the door, peeking in cautiously. I want to sleep with you. Jason knew exactly what he was thinking the moment he saw his expression. He chuckled. Missing your mom? The boy nodded. His eyes were red. The people here are too fierce, they say I don't know anything and I'm not worthy to be the Young family's eldest grandson. Jason frowned, quietly filing the matter away. He stood up and walked to the phone. He called the village public phone. Hello, who is it? A familiar country accent answered. Jason said gently, Uncle Ning, could you do me a favor and tell Lillian tomorrow to give me a call back? All right. After hanging up the phone, he ruffled his son's hair. Time for bed. His son laughed, hopped up, clung to him dependently, and looked up to ask, Dad, are you really going to marry Clara? Hearing that, Jason's mind flicked to my face. He still nodded. His son asked again, so what do you like about Clara? What did he like about Clara? Jason was momentarily stunned. After a long pause, he spoke. Because she understands propriety, and she can read and interpret texts, she's the kind of person I am. When he first met Clara, she was sitting under a tree, head bent over a book, sunlight pouring over her, breathtakingly beautiful. And standing before her was me, having just finished gathering herbs. I smiled and handed her the stitched sachet. The village chief said you haven't been sleeping well lately. I sewed this sleeping sachet for you, please accept it. I, with dark skin, stood before Clara. For some reason Jason felt he couldn't hold his head up. He looked at my rough hands, then at Clara's delicate, jade-like ones, thinking, if only I could be like Clara. Later on, he talked with Clara about anything and everything, new knowledge from the outside world, the romantic and amusing stories beyond. He was astonished by Clara's learning and talent. It was the first time in years he felt so exhilarated. Thinking that, he also felt that bringing Clara back had been well worth it. The next morning, Clara pushed the door and came in. She frowned at the son lying on Jason's bed. You're already big enough, you can't keep clinging to your father. The son looked at the unfamiliar Clara in front of him, his eyes reddening with grievance. The Clara who usually comforted him paid him no mind. Instead, she turned to Jason. Jason, when are we going to register our marriage? When those words came out, Jason was silent for a long time. Before he returned to the city he divorced me, lying that it was not for Clara's sake, but so our son could register his household in the city. I agreed for the sake of my son. He did all of that just to register a marriage with Clara. So why, now, is he hesitating again? The phone rang. Jason looked up, his son beat him to it, rushing over and calling out, Mom. He didn't finish. Suddenly he froze. Jason sensed something was wrong and hurriedly asked, What's the matter? His son's voice was broken with sobs. Uncle Ning said Mom is missing. He said she left the village the day we left and never came back. Clara's hand clenched. Seeing Jason about to rush out, she quickly grabbed his arm. Don't be hasty. Before she left, she asked me for the Yang's address, maybe she went there on her own. Honestly, she can be so. The ox cart certainly isn't faster than our car. Wait another 2 days, maybe she'll show up. Hearing her words, Jason had no doubts. The worry in his eyes shifted to resignation and irritation. Does she know that coming like this could stir up some unnecessary trouble? He sighed and spoke to the housekeeper. Have someone posted outside the town. Don't let Lillian in. If you see her, bring her straight to me. But they waited half a month. Still no word from me. Jason asked the guards. You really haven't seen the person I mentioned? Everyone shook their heads. Jason, unusually flustered, immediately decided to go back to the village to check. Clara disagreed. You promised you'd register our marriage with me these few days, why do you still want to go look for her? Jason looked at her, a trace of weariness showing in his eyes. Can you stop making a scene? If I promised you something, I'll do it. No matter what she said, she's the one who saved my life. She's missing now, I have to go find her. You can't go. I won't allow it. Clara's eyes were rimmed in red. Then what am I supposed to do? Jason frowned. Over the past half-month he'd watched Clara constantly buy jewelry for the house and throw banquets for everyone, and a vague discontent had been building inside him. Now, seeing her making a fuss like this, the halo he had around her completely shattered. Don't be ridiculous, I'll register our marriage as soon as I come back. He had someone stop Clara, then left with his son. On the way, he said to his son, if we find your mother, you must behave yourself, okay? The boy nodded, his whole face and heart full of the excitement of finally seeing me. He'd had enough of the Yang family these past few days. His longing for me only grew stronger. But they came up empty. Not only did they fail to find me, even the house we once lived in together had been taken by someone else. Jason stared blankly at the house, which had changed so much. "Where's Lillian?" Emma sat beside him eating sunflower seeds. Seeing this, she spat at him. "You heartless, ungrateful wretch. You don't even want Lillian anymore. What is she still doing here? Let someone drown in your spit. She should have left long ago." The sun gripped Jason's hand, his eyes rimmed red. "Mother, where did she go?" Jason's throat worked, he couldn't get a word out. He seemed to see my lone, solitary figure walking away. I'll have someone look for her as soon as I get back." I didn't know any of that. On my way out, I saved someone with a high fever who was unconscious. "Thank you. I will never forget that you saved my life." I smiled. "The fact that we met means it was meant to be. I couldn't just stand by and watch you die. Take these medicines with you as well. You have a lot of dampness in your body, and these will help dispel it." The woman stared at me in a daze, then suddenly asked, "How good are your medical skills?" I sensed something encountered. "Is there someone at your home waiting for treatment?" She nodded, tears spilling down again. "My father has contracted a rare illness. We've seen several doctors who couldn't cure him. Could you come back with me and take a look? My father often told me that saving a life is worth more than building a 7-story pagoda." So I agreed without hesitation. On the way, the woman told me her name was Judy, that her family ran a small business, and that they lived a bit far from here. I asked her about some symptoms. Although I couldn't deduce a definite illness, I made preparations in advance. "I can give it a try." This illness was somewhat similar to a rare disease my father and I had mentioned before, I thought. I could try. The young family had already lost much of their hope. When they saw me arrive, they only waved me in to take a look. I took Yang's father's pulse and breathed a sigh of relief. It wasn't too late. "Stop the other medicines for now, give him these. I'll go prepare nutritious meals for him." Yang's mother rubbed her temples. "Do as she says." The reason Judy fainted on the road was that she had been visiting an old miracle doctor. But when she rushed over, she learned that the old healer had gone up the mountain to gather herbs and died. With that, all hope vanished. They had all already given up hope. None of them expected that Yang's father would take my medicine. The next day he was able to sit up and eat. That spectacle surprised everyone. Judy followed Mrs. Yang into my room. She knelt down straight away. "Dr. Lillian, you saved my father, you're the lifesaver of our family." Mrs. Yang was also in tears. "You are a benefactor to our family, such great kindness, we don't even know how to repay you." I smiled and helped Judy to her feet. "Thank you for trusting me. Your father's illness will be better soon, don't worry." In less than a month, Mr. Yang had returned to his former state of health. He hosted a banquet for everyone, and before the guests arrived he came specifically to find me. "This is just a small token of my gratitude, please take it, otherwise I would feel uneasy." He gave me a house in the city with a courtyard. Also a shop, and some assets. "Dr. Lillian, settle down here from now on. If you want to practice medicine and help the world, I will protect you." My heart warmed. It's also by chance. My father once mentioned this illness, a strange twist of fate. Mr. Yang looked at me. "May I ask, your father is?" "Kenneth." He staggered a step at that. You're his daughter?" "So that's why." Their illness was hereditary. It had been my father who saved his father back then. Judy had also gone to seek my father. With that connection, Mr. Yang was all the more eager to stuff the good things into my arms. He didn't settle down until the guests he had invited to the banquet arrived. Then he quieted and, taking me by the arm, introduced me. "This is the Minister of Health. You can call him Minister Yang, he's also my eldest brother." He then turned to Minister Yang. "This is the little miracle doctor who saved my life. Big brother, don't you have some tough pharmaceutical problems to crack? Maybe if you ask her, they'll all be solved." Looking at Minister Yang, I felt a sudden daze. I hadn't expected it. In this life, by a strange twist of fate, I actually met Jason's father here. I didn't let personal feelings affect other matters. With Mr. Yang's help, I gradually established myself in this city and expanded my reputation. The nutrient meals I personally formulated not only detoxified but also strengthened the body. For a time I was very much in the limelight. And the herbal sachets I sewed helped insomniacs finally sleep well. For stubborn ailments, I was able to conquer them all through my experience and perseverance. Even the trickier ones, after a brief discussion with Minister Yang, we could find ways to handle them. Yes. Through Mr. Yang's introductions, Minister Yang and I reached a cooperation. I was more than willing to do things that benefited the people. Minister Yang often looked at me and sighed. So outstanding. If only I had a daughter like you. I smiled and said nothing. When I founded my pharmaceutical company, Minister Yang was there too. Mr. Yang cheerfully helped greet the guests. Jason. Over here, come on. He introduced him to me with a smile. This is Jason, my big nephew, my eldest brother's only son. He went down to the countryside a couple of years ago and has only just come back. He sounded a bit regretful. If he didn't already have a child, I'd have liked to introduce the two of you. I kept a polite smile, pretending not to see Jason, who had already frozen in place. Hello, I'm Lillian. We hadn't seen each other for half a year. He had lost a lot of weight, dark bruises under his eyes, his face drawn and tired. As for me, without my son to spar with him, I could settle my mind to study medicines, and I even had the energy to start tending to myself again. My skin began to lighten. The hair I had cut short for convenience at work started to grow out. The white strands vanished, replaced by glossy black. And those hands that had once been as rough as tree bark, under Judy's supervision, were being pampered once more, becoming fair and delicate. If he hadn't seen me at my most beautiful before, Jason wouldn't have dared to recognize me at all. You are so heartless. After Mr. Young left, he stared at me, his voice hoarse. If I hadn't happened to run into you today, would you have avoided me for the rest of your life? I looked at him, my tone flat. I never deliberately avoided you, nor did I want to see you. You abandoned me. So I don't want you either. Jason, I'm now Minister Yang's business partner. I hope you won't make things awkward for any of us. His lips moved, he was about to say more when Clara ran over and hooked her arm through his. Jason, who is this? She didn't recognize me at first. But when our eyes met she opened them wide in disbelief. Is that you? How could it be? Her voice drew the attention of the people around us. Director Yang came over, frowning at her. What are you trying to do? Shouting like that, what a scene. Then he turned to me, a little apologetic. Lillian, haha, I should probably call you Ms. Lillian now, my son's friend has no manners, don't take it personally with her. I caught the word friend sharply. I was surprised. Could it be that in this life Jason didn't marry Clara? Listening to Minister Young jokingly smoothing things over, I didn't press the matter. But Clara wouldn't let it drop. Uncle, don't be fooled by her. She's just a country girl, she has no real skills, how could she possibly have founded such a large pharmaceutical company? Shut up. Jason snapped, finally losing his patience, grabbing her. What are you trying to do? Watching their interaction, I smiled. So this is how their relationship had come to be. The other guests all turned to look. I stepped in to defuse things. It's nothing, no need to worry about such small matters. Before you leave I'll have my assistant give everyone some gifts to take home. Please bear with us. Looking at my confident, composed self, Jason shrugged off Clara's arm. The boy was pulled over from the children's table. When he saw me, a confused expression crossed his face. When he recognized me, his astonishment was almost impossible to hide. You, how could you be my mother? In his memory, I had always been shabby, coarse, and ugly. But now he rushed over and hugged me, his eyes sparkling. Mom, you're so beautiful now. Are you here to marry Dad? I missed you so much. I cut him off and pulled his hand away. In the private room, Manager Yang, who had been frozen like a wooden statue, finally came to his senses. After hearing the whole story, he flew into a rage and slapped Jason across the face. Bastard! How could you do such damned things? How could you treat Lillian like that? Jason hung his head, a handprint ghosting his face. I was wrong. Dad, I was wrong. Please go outside, let me talk to her properly, okay? Minister Yang was livid and seemed ready to strike again, but I stopped him. He looked at me then, eyes full of tenderness. You've suffered. Whatever you decide in the end, I support you. Even if you don't want that rotten kid anymore. I won't object, he deserves it. He pushed the door open and left. Only Jason stayed, staring at me motionless. My son still clung to my hand, refusing to let go. Mom, please don't leave me. I'm sorry, I don't want Clara to be my mom, I want you to get back with Dad. Looking at him, I remembered all the things from my previous life. I remembered how he once threw money in my face and called me a homewrecker. Now he was simply having a hard time under Clara's thumb, which made him think of me again. Selfish, cold, just like Jason. I ripped my hand away and sneered, I'm not your mother. Nor am I your wife. Jason didn't speak, suddenly he just dropped to his knees in front of me. I'm sorry. It's all my fault. But I've been looking for you for half a year, searching for you for so long, I miss you so much. I only now see my true feelings. The one I love is you, Lillian, the one I love is you. Can you give me a chance? That's enough. I cut him off in a low voice. Nausea welled up in my stomach. My son's crying made me uneasy and distracted. I knew I couldn't keep avoiding them forever. Better to make it clear now. Seeing you makes me think of the foolish first half of my life. Seeing you, Jason, makes me sick to the point I can't sleep. You don't love me, you only think I treated you well. You're just unwilling to accept it. I said coldly, get out. I never want to see you again. Judy rushed over as soon as she heard. She glanced at the father and son who had left, then at me, indignant. Serves them right. My dad says what they did makes them worse than pigs and dogs. She hugged me. Don't worry, even if he's my cousin, I won't let him hurt you. Lynn's pharmaceutical company officially opened for business. I had no time to keep entangling myself with them. I provided jobs for those women who had nowhere else to go. They could gather herbs for me to collect. They could sort the herbs. There was also packaging and selling of the medicines. My business was booming. When Minister Yang came to visit, he couldn't help but sigh. You're really something, you can make life bloom, I really had no doubts about you. It's just a pity, that rotten kid. I knew he still wanted me to become his daughter-in-law, so I said it plainly and decisively. Uncle Yang, there's no way between your son and me. Those words hit Jason, who'd come in holding flowers, squarely. He moved his lips. Lillian. I frowned. Then I heard him say, I'm here to order nutrient meals and medicine packs, I'm sorry. He set the bouquet on the table and, before leaving, looked back. I'm willing to wait for your forgiveness. Director Yang left with him, berating him all the way. I heard about it. I heard that Jason had kicked Clara out of the house. I heard that Clara made a scene at the Yang's gate and was bundled back to the village. But what did any of that have to do with me? I had my assistant take the flowers apart and distribute them to the women at their desks, wishing them happiness every day. I turned around. My tearful son was there again. I didn't wait for him to speak. I took a red envelope from my bag and handed it to him. This is your support money. I'll give it to you every month. You don't need to come looking for me anymore. In his past life he used money to brush me off. This life it was my turn to brush him off with money. My son cried out loud. I don't want money. I want Mom. Mom, I miss you. I waved my hand. My assistant had someone take him away and sent him back to the Yang family. In the days that followed, I kept traveling by train to various places to negotiate partnerships. I hardly saw them anymore. Occasionally when our paths did cross, Jason would quietly support me from behind the scenes. He didn't remarry. Our son, just as I had once hoped, grew into a composed young man. Father and son still wanted to see me, but they wouldn't dare intrude on my life against my wishes. After another round of negotiations, I gave myself a break. Watching in the rearview mirror as the two of them quietly followed behind, I sighed. When I used to chase after them, they treated me like trash. Now that I have my own life, they have started to respect me. So people, huh? You still have to respect yourself and live once for yourself.